Okay. So we should be live now. Hello everyone. On the mic is Medibot. We've got some GYCL, just casual sets for you tonight. You know, got a couple of the bakers who participated in the Winter 2014 US Eastern Conference Open Championship Series. Just putting on some exhibition matches, I should say, for everyone tonight. No, so far Nintendo has not responded to our calls for an official version of Yoshi's Cookie with NetPlay, so we're doing what we can. On the left Player 1 red side, we have Slio9. On the right Player 2 side, blue Player 2 side, we have Logical2u. Going with the, tournament rules Mario Mirror, high speed. And we're getting started, so let's see how these two do in their casual set. Logical laying down the first stack. Everyone basically just going for the single right now. But Slio9 decides to get a little technical, ask Logical the 9 questions. Let's see if how Logical does on this multiple choice test. Answers back with combo into slave, getting a double combo that involves Yoshi cookies will only generate one Yoshi cookie instead of the 5 typically generated by a double combo. In general, the thing to keep in mind when you're making doubles is that you essentially don't count any Yoshi cookie matches towards your combo count, which is why a single Yoshi cookie match generates 0. A double match involving Yoshi cookies as either the first or second counts as a single. However, a triple, where one of the matches is a Yoshi cookie, will count as a double for the purpose of combo counting and give you 5 Yoshi cookies back. This can be an extremely devastating way to chain out matches. We're into the final 5 with both of our competitors. Both of them keeping it pretty clean this match, not attacking each other too much. Just most warming up, seeing, keeping their hands limber, keeping their hands loose. Slio9, almost with the stack attack, inflicts the self-blind, but he's only got one match left and he takes it away. Game 1 goes to Slio9, let's go to Game 2. Alright. Logical2u showing his strength of high APM, just going for singles rapidly, known as the PC and Vegeta strategy. It was a sort of a metagame answer to a lot of the play that was occurring leading up to the Winter 2014 Open Championship Series. PC and Vegeta basically believed that players were overestimating their abilities, and the best way to punish that was just brutally efficient single matching rather than going for any kind of combo play. And it went pretty well for him until he got to an opponent who perhaps was not overestimating his abilities at all. Slio forced to ask himself who has true control while under the effect of the blinders just to keep his momentum going. Blind being the one status effect that does not stop your timer from counting down. It's important to keep your momentum while that goes, or you can be caught in some very embarrassing situations where you can barely bake anything at all. Logical2u having some trouble finding positive ingredients for his swath of Yokos, 9 on his board right now. There are some other ingredients available to him. It looks like he's going to go for the self-slave just to clear things out, but it's too late. Slio has already completed his stack. He was just too far behind. Let's see what we've got going. Slio9 getting a little fancy to show Logical2u some love, but manages to pull it off. But not before Logical can ask the 9 questions. Stacks looking even going out of the first 5. Typically no one breaks away this early in the match, but, you know, anything can happen with, you know, in the game of Yoshi's Cookie. Slio putting together another double. Let's see if he can capitalize off of it. Logical pulling ahead, but Slio assuming mind control. Logical has good density of both the donut and the heart, so he's going to come out of this slave with, as we saw, with a pretty quick donut match, followed by a heart match. Slio answering back, walking down into the Green Valley, trying to quickly put together a blind attack, but does not find it in time before switching over to Self-Panic. Logical at this point has pulled around 5 stacks ahead. Oh, but Slio notices this, answers back with a stack attack, pulling him back down into a more reachable position. Almost got the second stack attack, missed it by mere frames. Lots of Ahi 7s flying around on Logical's screen, first a good one, then a bad one, neither of them resulting in actual effect. Slio9 ruthless with the stack attacks this game. Sees that Logical2u's APM is something to be feared, and so he's attacking Logical2u's greatest strength directly. Let's see how that does. Slio9 has now pulled ahead. Let's see if he can put something together. He's got only 2 stacks left to Logical's 5, now 4. Let's see what he can put together. Forced to self -3. Bringing it back to even. 3 left for each of them. Slio9 fractions of a second ahead. Let's see if he can close it out. He just needs 1 more stack, and he takes it by 1. Taking the set 3-0. Strong performance by both of our competitors. Alright. Our players, in these casual sets that are done over net play, players are rarely in top form just due to mechanical inefficiencies all along the whole process. From input device to hardware to network communication. You know, I played on it a bit earlier. It was like trying to bake underwater on Venus in a thunderstorm, and it's not the optimal competition, which is why all official competitions do take place on the official hardware. But that's not enough to stop these courageous bakers from doing everything they can to bring you esports action. So back into it, Slio continuing with his combo play, rewarded for it with an early +3. Stack attacks may not be flashy, but they are generally agreed upon as one of the more effective uses of your Yoshi cookies. Although well-timed blinds or panics can occasionally result in your opponent burning their batch, and well-timed slaves can sometimes result in the psychologically devastating Punte Reverse, there's nothing that quite compares to just the raw efficiency of moving a stack up or down by 3. Slio9 comboing into another pop quiz for Logical, but Logical's APM is just going off the chain, not slowed down by it at all, up by around 6. Slio assumes mind control. No Punte Reverse available, as Logical only had 2 Yoshi cookies during that time. Slio9's going to have to move quickly if he wants to keep up. Logical with only 2 stacks left to match, make that 1. Slio flipping the panic switch. Let's see if that slows down Logical enough. But it seems unlikely with only one stack left. Logical takes it. Alright. Logical saying, hey buddy, you 3-0'd me first match. But I am not Pillsbury, not in the least. I'm going to take it right back from you, taking the first game of our second match. Slio with a quick double, but not before Logical was able to lay down 3 of his own. However, the double did enable an early slave attack, dramatically cutting into Logical's APM. Logical's board didn't have any cookie density high enough to render that slave ineffective. When a match is made on your board while you're under the effect of the slave attack, you are immediately sent out of the status effect, regardless of whether or not that match was intentional by your opponents as part of a punte reverse or completely inadvertent. In this way, having a high density of a single cookie type when a slave takes effect can somewhat increase your resistance as it becomes more and more likely that your opponent, as they are simply trying to maximize their own APM during this time, is unable to avoid making a match, thereby shortening the duration of the status effect dramatically, making it even weaker than your average blind attack. Logical was looking for the punte reverse there, but Slio9 only had things that would improve his own standing, so Logical forced to play it honest. Alright, our stacks are looking mighty close to one another as we're pulling into the final 10. Panic switch buying Logical valuable time to pull ahead. He's 5 up right now. Make that 6, although Slio gets right back into it. And a positive stack attack by Slio makes this anyone's game. 2 stacks left. Logical takes it. When you get near the end of the match like that, it can be, when each player has very, very few stacks left to make, it can be dangerous to go for the normally preferred technical play of generating many Yoshi cookies and going for the combo, and then going into an attack of some sort, simply because your opponent can just be pumping out singles during that time, not paying any attention to that kind of early and mid-game optimality, close out the game. Importantly, on your final stack, even if you produce an attack that has a plus or minus effect, if the act of matching those Yoshi cookies puts you at 25, the plus or minus will have no effect, even if it would cause your opponent to hit 25 themselves, or if it would send you below 25. As soon as the baking is done, the doors are closed. Alright, looks like Slio's more technical playstyle paying off for him in this round, looking to perhaps avoid getting 3-0'd right back by Logical2u. Now clearly warmed up, ready for action. Quick donut into blind split double. Let's see, can he flip that panic switch in time? He can. Gets it right before manages to break the slave that Logical put on him and throw back a panic attack, almost completely nullifying Logical2u's offensive output. Logical asking the 9 questions, but Slio with very high green gem density, allowing him to not have to slow down at all. Logical asked the 9 questions, but it's too late as Slio takes game 3. Slio slipping up slightly on his opening double gambit gets burned out to give Logical the 4th game of set. Alright, so our two competitors are at 1-1 as far as matches go, but they're going to keep going for a while, as this is simply, these are just casual sets, nothing riding on it, at least not officially. This is one of the dangers that competitors experience on high speed. Open tournaments like the one that happened earlier this month are played on medium speed. However, most invitational tournaments are played on high speed, and as such, most players prefer to practice on high speed just to make sure that their APM isn't dropping so low that they would get their badges burned in more serious matches. Logical2u pulling ahead early, surging into the mid-game, about 5 stacks ahead of Slio. Slio asking the 9 questions, not slowed down terribly much, but enough to make perhaps a small difference, although whatever difference that would have made was immediately cancelled out and reversed by going into a panic attack after coming out of the blind. Logical2u looks like only 6, now 5 stacks away from taking game 1 of their 3rd set, although Slio keeping up his high technical play. But no amount of +3s are going to save you when you are that far behind going from mid into late, and Logical takes the 1st set. Alright. Quick stack attack from Slio at the beginning of that sends Logical all the way back to 1. Logical's high APM and single preference generally gives him an early game advantage, where he will be higher up on stacks before a more technical player like Slio. Although, being able to answer back like Logical did with a quick -3 to answer Slio's -3 sort of removes any advantage that Slio would have gained in the early game. But it looks like just some efficient play by Slio, as well as slight inefficiencies, it looks like, on the player 2 side, keeping this pretty even going from early into mid. Slio finding a slave attack, comboing into a warm sunrise with the orange frosted cookies, followed by Logical inflicting panic. Inflicted, rather, with panic. Slio keeping up the status effects on Logical, believing that perhaps this sort of aggressive, just sort of APM damaging play is going to be the most effective. Slio temporarily enslaved, but for few frames, as he breaks free from the surly bonds of Logical2u and answers back. It's Slio's game to lose at this point, as even under 9 questions, he has now only 2 stacks left to make, and 1 to Logical looks to be about 10. Takes his time with some greens, closes it out with 1-1. Going into game 3. Slio with a devastating parallel circuit. Double horizontal into vertical. gives him 3 quick matches as well as 5 Yoshi cookies. However, no additional Yoshi cookies are awarded for combos past a double, unless, of course, Yoshi cookies as part of the combo start throwing off your math. Regardless, Slio is gladly, I'm sure, accepting that that extra stack on his score as we go into the mid-game. Both players look to be even at 8 stacks apiece. Slio with plenty of ammunition in those Yoshi cookies, but not a whole lot to point at, although a stack attack has just appeared and he quickly snaps it up, sending Logical2u back, canceling out Logical2u's, again, his APM optimization, cancelled out by this more technical playstyle. Experiencing some brief technical difficulties, but coming out of that, it seems that Slio has found Logical's greatest fears and has sent him into a deep panic. Heading into the end game with less than 10 stacks left for Slio, we've got a pretty big deficit that Logical is going to have to make up. Let's see what he does to do it. Find some love, followed by some donuts. Oh, but you don't want that kind of stack attack at this point. Will a slave help? We'll have to find out. Slio's got good orange sunrise density, and it looks like pretty soon... Oh, he breaks it up just enough to keep Slio from answering back with the panic attack. Logical has done a great job of catching up, but it looks like he's going to... Slio's going to take it with 25 to 24. Slio digging deep to find that double, doesn't find it, and wisely ducks out of it before any accidents happen at the bakery. There's the double he's looking for. So both of them opening up for their first attack at about the same time, although neither of them currently having something beneficial to do with it. Slio the first to be able to go on offense with a quick blind attack. Logical still unable to go on offense, but, you know, as soon as I say it, he's given a stack attack to send Slio9 back down and take the lead. Slio with a panic attack, however, the result of the panic ending up not too bad for Logical, with many of the checkerboards in position for him to quickly start making matches once again and accelerate his APM back up to its theoretical maximum. Slio's playstyle paying off there as his consistent access to Yoshi cookies allowed for a quick slave attack, although Logical with just enough frames to answer back with one of his own. Slio's density distribution is about even, so that was a pretty effective scramble of his board there during the slave. Going into the end game, Logical with only 2 stacks left now, and very high density. Let's see if he goes for the... Oh, he just takes the heart match. Alright, we are going after each player has 1 set, we are now 2-2 going into the 3rd set, or into the last game of our 3rd set. Only 3 matches in, Slio already asking some hard questions of his opponent, followed by a quick donut lover combo, replenishing his supply. Logical completely unfazed, matching his stack level with just extremely high APM. Especially under these conditions, this level of APM is amazing. Throws down a panic as Slio sets up. The technical playstyle is somewhat more vulnerable to attacks such as panic, as a longer amount of time is spent between any given scoring opportunity. However, the 9 questions are not going to keep Slio down at all. His board awareness is way too high for that sort of attack to provide any sort of detriment. However, Slave is more likely to slow him down a bit. Logical with a brutal Punte Reverse, forcing Slio to stack attack himself. Heading into the later part of the mid-game, going into the end of the day's baking. Logical with the self-blind just to keep his momentum going. But let's see if the blind accidentally slows him down too much. It does not appear to. So a likely smart move by Logical, taking the self-blind just to keep from spending too much time digging around for ingredients. Split doubler into a stack attack. Lets Logical finish the set almost out of nowhere. Logical takes the 3rd match. Logical's match count now at 2 to Slio's 1. Going into our 4th match. So we have Logical leading off with a quick checkerboard. Both players going for an initial checkerboard. Different piece types tend to have different preferences from each player. We haven't collected quite enough data on these 2 players to answer that kind of question for you all. But speaking for myself, I know I tend to have the easiest time with hearts and the hardest time with the donuts. Slio9 not having trouble with anything at all. Tons of combo play leading into his slave attack, giving him the time he needs to optimize this. Another combo. Can he pull off the stack attack in time? He can. Logical also having the stack attack available up top, but not enough ammunition down in the bakery to make anything of it. Does manage to pull a panic, but at the same time, Slio performs a slave, so Slio unable to control his own board during that time, but in complete control of Logical. Slio has pulled ahead going into the late game. Let's see what he can find. He's got plenty of ammunition. Let's see if he is able to, very aggressively choosing to continue comboing when he already has Yoshi cookies on the board. This can be somewhat dangerous. Symptom known as Yoshi overbaking, where simply due to the generation of too many Yoshi cookies, there are no matches other than Yoshi cookies available, no matches other than Yoshi cookies available, which may force you into the unfortunate position of having to inflict a stack attack that benefits your opponent, or have your cookies burned out from under you. Having your cookies burned out, of course, is an instant loss, but a stack attack that benefits your opponent is sometimes the difference between the two cannot be perceived. Extremely quick clears from both players. Slio clearly wanting to close this game out very fast. almost making the slave attack, instead gets a negative attack pointed at him, barely avoiding burning his batch, but then followed by a -3 against Logical. Works just fine. Logical answering back with a slave. Let's see what he does in these brief moments of pure cosmic control. Slio setting up checkerboard into Donut. Now reloaded on Yoko ammo. But it looks like he's having some trouble finding something to actually do. Found a slave, he's going to be able to use that pretty well. Slight APM loss getting that off, but the benefits cannot be compared. Gets a +3 on himself during the slave. Cementing Slio's powerful lead after the amazingly potent early game play. Cookie into checker. Let's see if he can get these 9 questions off. Logical just digging around for matches, but unable to really put together a proper offense. Slio's combo play is simply paying off very hard for him. Gets a match just in time before getting slaved, but that will mean that he is getting the full duration of the slave attack. It looks like Logical's high APM has managed to pull him back into this somewhat. However, it's very unlikely that he's going to be able to do something that will be able to slow down Slio9, as Slio only has 2 matches left to Logical's 5. But anything can happen with enough Yoshi cookies on the field. And it looks like Slio has taken it. Game 2 goes to Slio. Alright. Quick donut green combo. But the stars are not favoring the bakery of Slio9 today, as he combos into a self-blind. Comboing with blind on the table can be risky, as you do actually lose information, whereas making singles with blind on the table does not result in any information loss. However, Slio proving that the blind is truly ineffective against him, not only comboing into a blind, but comboing while blind. Throwing the 9 questions back at his opponent then and now. Logical is somewhat behind, but a 3-stack difference won't make a difference, but your cookies burning to a crisp will. So Slio takes our 4th game, tying it up at 2-2. Both competitors refusing to cede ground for more than a moment, as each loss has been answered back with the player brutally swinging at his opponent, climbing back up, showing that neither of them are to be taken lightly. Slio starting off with a double into blind. Let's see if it slows down Logical at all. Does not appear to be. Although the combo play does allow you to make attacks quickly, if those attacks are only things like blind, it is almost assuredly not as big as a benefit as it would have been if you had simply been spending your time going for singles. Logical, having answered back with a panic attack, pulls ahead, that being unsafe at any speed. Logical has once again found enough Yoshi cookies to make attacks. Both players playing a little more defensively right now, as they are unable to go on offense with the recipes currently displayed. Logical finds an attack first with Blind, but Slio quickly finds a Slave attack to inflict on his opponent. So roughly even for both competitors. Let's see what they're able to find. Slio ingredient density approaching neutral, very dangerous. Having a balanced board is quite the problem, and so is giving yourself a -3, as we just saw from Slio. Quickly comboing back, but Logical2u's advantage at this point is quite great due to that. Only 3 stacks to go. Although it's going to be hard to make those while under the effect of a slave. Slio sticking to his guns even as we're going into the very end of the late game. Trying to find something to put an offense together, but doesn't find it in time, and Logical takes it. Slio's traditional opening gambit of the double into an attack pays off greatly for him there, as he is able to stack attack Logical, getting a quick early game advantage, which is normally when the singleton strategy is at its strongest. So if Slio can keep and hold on the early game, he should be able to close it out without too much trouble. Slio again taking his time to set up a combo, Logical's APM returning to its maximum. But Slio rewarded for his technical play with a positive stack attack for himself. This is exactly what the technical player wants to see happening, is just quick double attacks into stack attacks. If that's what's happening for the combo player, they're going to have a very quick road to victory. Still pretty close going into the final 5. 9 questions from Slio. Do not... No, he can't find that 4th donut under the blind. Only finds it once it is out. Only 1 match left for Slio to find, while Logical's under the panic attack. Casually waltzes into the checkerboard and takes game 2. Losing off Logical, making his opening 5 very quickly. Slio's first attack of the game being that panic switch. Still under the blinders. Uses that time under the blinders to set up a double, repopulating his Yoshi cookie supply. Let's see if he can find something that is useful for him. Does not look like it, and he's slowly running out of ingredients for other cookie types. Let's hope that the Yoshi recipe starts paying off sooner rather than later. Doesn't look like it. Turned into a positive stack for his opponent. Fortunately, enough checkerboard spawned to keep him from getting in any awkward positions. Prime opportunity for a Punte reverse pay, and it is, I think, taken. I'm not getting perfect video over here. Our 2 stacks are very even, almost completely even going out of the mid-game. We have about 10 left. Slio throwing down the slave, hoping that this will slow down Logical's APM enough for him to close out the game before Logical's speed can reach its normally high levels. APM Singleton players, like Logical, rely very much on keeping their momentum throughout a match. So, well-timed slave and panic plays can do a whole lot to throw them off their game. But the slave against Slio buys Logical enough time to close out his stack of 25 and take the third game. Going into for two almost instantaneous matches by Logical. Extremely good cookie space optimization we're seeing. It's only going to get better, it looks like. Unfortunately for him, that is nothing against the offensive power of Slio9 in this match. Completely crushing back with devastating attacks. Let's see if Slio can find something to do with those Yoshi cookies of his. Making another double, very high Yoshi density. That panic perhaps valuably burning time away. With so many Yoshis, it can even be possible to come out of panic into an attack instantly. This is rare, but can happen with sufficient piece density. He still has plenty of Yoshis up his sleeve to allow for a quick attack as soon as it looks good, and he takes the +3. Logical, having none of that, answers back with a -3 to pull things back to close to even. Panic switch thrown onto Logical. So trying to use that to buy time to set up more advanced combinations. Not always getting it, sometimes having to choose when to cut his losses and just go for the single match to avoid burning any cookies. But a positive stack attack in the nick of time looks like it's going to seal this game out for Slio, and it does. 25-20. We got yet another amazingly close match going into its 5th and final game. So quickly loading up on the panic switch to help make up for Logical's early game lead with just the high APM strategy. Another Love Biscuit into the green gem. Reloading on Yoshi cookies, but has to be careful not to accidentally combo into a Yoko -3 on himself. Finds a blind to throw at him just to keep Yoshis from overpopulating his board. Logical with a rare double. Let's see if he can put the stack attack together in time. He does, pulling much further ahead. Slio answering back with a panic attack. Let's see how much this buys for Slio. Setting up another green heart combo with another panic attack off of that reload. This is severely cutting into Logical's APM and could be devastating for his plan. Are we going to see a third panic in a row? No, it slips away before Slio can cash in his Yoshis. But it looks like instead he's going to get a stack attack and one. Finally putting Slio into the lead for the first time this set. Logical very upset about that, throwing down the 9 questions on Slio. Slio shrugs his shoulders and says, I am here to bake. I don't need to see, I don't need to touch, I don't need to smell, I just need to think about cookies. Going into the last 5, Slio still making extremely fast matches. That panic coming at a critical time. Only 1 stack left for Slio, although it is not going to be an easy one for him, but he manages to find it. Alright. Good games from both of our players. Alright. Need to confer with our coordinators for a moment to see what we have planned for you for the rest of the night.